here we are. Where do we start? Well, do we start down on the docks taking a look at boats? I don't think so. It's not where I start. It's not where most people start. We usually start sitting around the dining room table or on our sofas or laying on our beds with our significant others, and we start talking about this and we start dreaming about this. And when we start, I think we come up with an idea for ourselves as to what kind of liveaboard we want to be. Maybe we already own our first boats or the boats that we're planning on using, or maybe we don't. Maybe this is just the beginning of our exploration.
They tend to be younger people that are more adaptable, people who haven't acquired a lot of material trappings, for whom it's not as much of a sacrifice as it would be for somebody moving out of a 10-room house, trying to deal with what to do about the furniture and the silver and those sorts of things. Sometimes it's guys that have been booted out of the house that need a place to live quickly, and they're typically looking for something cheap and not necessarily very fancy, just a place on the water. Might not even have to have an engine.
Well, there are two kinds of liveaboards, too. There's the cruising liveaboard, who's chronically underway, and there is no place called home.
More typically, it's a young couple who, for one reason or another, has decided this would be a fun thing to do. It might be financially a smart thing for them to do.
But much more common is the liveaboard who has a home port, who stays in the same marina in the same city all the time.
A means of having a relatively comfortable lifestyle without having to come up with a huge down payment for a house and without having to spend and throw away $2,000 or $3,000 a month for rent.
I can't imagine myself living my life any other way. I love it. It's I like the fact that I can go out here, look at this river, have $1 million view.
But I would say it tends to be a person that's a relative novice at boating.
Why do you think that is?
I couldn't tell you. It may have to do with the lure that's created by magazines. People get a romantic image from reading magazines that being on board a boat is a great thing to do, and I don't find that many people who have owned a lot of boats who just decide they want to become a liveaboard.
Joanne and I have been married 47 years. We've lived on board this 42-foot Hunter sailboat now since we moved up here approximately 10 and a half, 11 years ago.
I like the fact that if I don't like my neighbors for whatever reason, I can just pack up and leave.
I think I like the excitement of doing something different.
I like the freedom that it represents, and that's really what it's all about for me.
But the other thing, of course, that I enjoy about living on board is the freedom that you have.
It's just being able to choose where I want to live and how I want to live and, kind of change your environment as you go along.
And you can disconnect from the dock and you can take your house wherever you want to go. And you can go with friends, or you can go out and sail in the Sound, or you can just motor around, or you can just go out and anchor out or just float. And it kind of gets the cobwebs out of your head. Well, there are various different challenges. Number one is you don't have the room that you have in a home. You have the challenge of the fact that your house is moving all the time. You do get used to that motion, and of course it depends a little bit on where you're moored and how you're living aboard as to the challenges that you face, because they're gonna vary. They're gonna change from location to location.
Boats tend to be damp on the inside.
Private space.
And some people can't stand the motion.
Maintaining a boat is much more difficult than maintaining a house, in my opinion.
Marine toilets are a messy affair.
The craziness of the girl factor.
Electrolysis, and that's where you have straight currents.
We basically got caught in this one little storm off of St. Augustine, and that was it. She's like, sell the boat. I'm like, I'm not selling the boat. I told you when we met that this is what I'm about.
You're kind of buddy-buddy, and you're chummy, and you hug and kiss and rub against each other, and you enjoy the closeness of it.
I think it's very difficult to find somebody who you can talk into this lifestyle. I think it has to come from within them. And you know, it's tough to do.